Yeah, so tell us about the underside of the house.
Okay. So, again, a sort of special application in this particular environment, right? So you can see right through here to the underside of those trusses. And if this was a typical crawl space, you don't do a very significant amount of sealing underside of this. And so it might just be plastic or something sort of superficial. In this application, this will be a finished product. So we're actually planning to use a hardy panel or something very much like that, which is a can be exposed to the weather, doesn't have to have any special finishing to it, and so you could walk underneath this entire thing and knock on the ceiling the entire way. We're doing that for a couple different things. Number one, keep out what weather there is, keep out vapor, moisture, right? So there'll be a vapor barrier in there as well. Keep out insects, right? So that'll be completely sealed like the sides or the roof would be, right? Just underneath the deck. And then maybe even more importantly than that is so again, we're elevated, right? And so normally on your first floor, or even really your basement for the most part, you wouldn't have that much or any insulation in the floor itself. You have it in the walls because that's protection between conditioned space and exterior. You have it in the ceiling, obviously, right? Same detail, but you typically don't have it in the floor. This would be freezing otherwise, right? All that cold air would roll underneath this house, which it's going to, and would just come up right up through the floor. So we have to insulate this entire first floor space. We're going to end up putting, I think it's R40 in the first floor, and that's going to be a batt insulation in most cases. In some cases, it will be a closed cell and combination of open cell. So we insulate all of this, and then we have still about halfway up that 2-foot truss. There'll be insulation on the bottom. The top half will be open, and in 90% it'll just be open. And then you have your subfloor above, and then ultimately your finished floor. But that space above that is where we run all of our mechanicals, right? So we have our plumbing lines that run in there, all of our branch duct, and all of that is still above the insulation, right? So it's not going to freeze. And we're actually working with the mechanical contractor right now to finalize a plan about whether we're actually going to condition the entire sort of like interstitial chase above the insulation and below the floor. Number one, to make it even warmer, to the end user. Although the real main issue is that may help us eliminate all the insulation that would have to be on the ducts otherwise. So even though there's true insulation below, it would be considered an unconditioned space if we didn't blow any air in there. So he's thinking maybe we're just going to blow some air sort of down these main trunk lines, and just that space will be sort of another buffer of warmth. It wouldn't be kept to 70 degrees necessarily like the house, but we're going to warm up that temperature a little bit, right? And that leads, while we're standing over here, leads to the other strategy about how we're actually running our main mechanical and plumbing for the most part. Electric can move around pretty easily because they're small pipes, but our main mechanical and electrical runs down this main chase. So what you can see is that we have the trusses that sit on the north side, and there's 2 major beams running down this hallway, and that translates to these 2 major beams running down the hallway here. The trusses sit on the north side, the trusses sit on the south side, and if you shot your video or your camera down here, you would see that we have an open space in there, right? And it's more open space than where the trusses would allow us with the horizontal and vertical web members to let duct through and to let plumbing through. And so this is what we call our main chase. And so all of the main big duct that's 18 by 12 inches or whatever runs down this main chase. Then it branches off into smaller pieces that easily fit through these bays. And what that does too is and when we have our plumbing in there, both supply and return, again, we don't want it to freeze. And so in this particular chase down this hallway, and then it runs down that other hallway, same concept, we'll have closed cell insulation blown underneath it so that we can get more bang for our buck per inch. And so again, we're not worried about any freezing in all of that space. So multiple applications of different kind of insulation and different kind of strategy in order to accomplish the final goal.